The woman said to him, "Did you ever open your mouth and say any marital vows to Denia?" That was when his mind ran back to that night he came home tired. He said yes, but it was nothing serious. The first time you made love to her, there was a blood covenant between you and her, and the night you said those words you sealed yourself as her husband, and when you kicked her out, her children which she aborted, who now lives in the spirit world, are fighting to kill you because of their mother Denia. He then asked the woman, "Can we break the curse or appease them with money? I have a lot of money, just name the price I will pay." Mother smiled and said, "In this case, money has failed, you have to go and get your wife, unless your life on earth is over." Hello guys, before we get deep into this story, please subscribe, like and don't forget to turn on the notification bell, so that you will be notified once we upload a new video. Thank you. Once upon a time in a city called Buchanan in Liberia, there lived a handsome young man named Francis Corion. Francis is 26 years old and very intelligent. He is into coding and app development. He has a team of 3 other young boys he works with, and they have always delivered on their jobs with big companies. So it's safe to say, Francis is very rich and don't know what to do with money. He changes girls every now and then. Once he gets tired of a girl, he tells her it is over, or he finds a way to set her up and ends the relationship. His friends have warned him about his wayward lifestyle and told him to stick to one girl, but Francis, who calls himself the woman conqueror, was not ready to stop. One day, as Francis and his girlfriend Samantha came home from the club, he accused her of flirting with another man in the club and asked her to leave his house. She cried and begged. She told him she never flirts with anybody, but Francis, who was already tired of her, refused to listen and asked her to leave. When she refused, he pushed her out and locked the door. Samantha left that night without her things. That night Francis called his friend Eric and told him he has gotten rid of Samantha and that he needs a fresh girl. Eric said, but Samantha was a good girl, and she never disturbed him for his money, and also, she has had several abortions for him. Francis replied, that is why she had to go, too many abortions. I don't want her to die trying to have another one, she just gets pregnant at one touch, it's so frustrating. Eric said to Francis, you need to calm down, this thing will catch up with you one day. Francis said, if it does, I will just sort it out with money. The next day, Samantha came over again to plead with Francis, but he was done with her. He gave her a check of $2 million and told her to pick all her things and leave. After Samantha had cried for a while, she took all her things and left. 1 month later, Francis and his team sold another app worth $100 million, so they had to share the money, and Francis got $25 million in the deal. He was so happy he made plans to go and celebrate at the club that night, but he needed a girl to go with him, so he was desperately looking for a beautiful girl to go with. He doesn't believe in taking a girl from the club home. According to him, most girls from the club are just looking for someone to rip off. As Francis branched somewhere to eat, he met a young beautiful girl named Denia, who is just 18 years old. Her mother owns the restaurant, so she goes there from time to time to help out. Denia was born and raised in USA. She just returned to Africa to spend some time with her mother. Francis got talking with her and invited her out. She agreed. He picked her up that night and they went to the club. They looked very good together. Francis' friends were not happy seeing the young beautiful Denia with him. She didn't understand why Francis' friends looked unhappy to see them together. She thought they didn't like her, but she was eager to have some fun. It's been 3 weeks since she came back to Africa and she has no friends. There was no one to take her out and show her around, and she has been itching for this kind of fun, so she ignored them. 2 months passed and Francis asked Denia to move in with him, and she did. They looked very good together. Denia is a very lively girl, so there is no dull moment with her. Because of this, Francis' friends ended up warming up to her. Things were going well, till 4 months down the line, Denia told Francis she was pregnant. He asked her to remove it and gave her a lot of money to do so. She cried all night thinking Francis would change his mind, but he said he is not ready to be a father, so she had to terminate the pregnancy. It was the most difficult thing anyone will ask her to do, but she terminated the child, and it took her a while before she could recover from the pains she went through, both emotionally and physically. One day, Denia was out shopping with Francis and they ran into Samantha. She saw her and Francis and knew exactly what was going on. She looked for an opportunity to talk with Denia. When Denia was alone, she told her, "I am Samantha, Francis' last girlfriend before you." She told her how she has had over 4 abortions for Francis and he later dumped her for no reason, that Denia should be careful since he sees that she is next. Denia was so confused. As they were talking, Francis walked up to them and took Denia away. On their way home, Denia asked about Samantha and Francis said she was her ex and she has been stalking him for a long time, that Samantha tried to kill him so he ended things with her. She wasn't satisfied with the reply she got from Francis, so she decided to keep it close to her heart. One weekend, Denia went to visit her mom and she told her mom what happened while they were shopping, and the mother promised to look into it. Denia's mother is a single mother. She has never been married. All she has time for is her businesses, which she has almost all over the country. So, allowing Denia come around is a good thing for her. She would do anything to see her daughter happy. Her intention is to make Denia become so comfortable she decides to stay back in Africa and not go back to USA. So whatever it takes to convince her to stay back, she will do it. 8 months passed. Francis and Denia were happy in their relationship, but Francis had been traveling a lot trying to secure a new deal for his team so they can work on a new app. He came home one evening after a 3-day trip and Denia handed over to him a paper. He opened it and found out she was pregnant again. This is now the 2nd time she is falling pregnant. Francis said to her calmly, "We need to get rid of it. You can see how hard I work. I am not ready to be a father now." Denia, who has been planning the thing in her head, asked Francis one question: "Do you plan to marry me? Or are we just wasting each other's time here?" Francis tried to calm her down, telling her he will marry her. She smiled and said, "If you are telling the truth, then repeat this after me." Francis said yes. "What is it?" And Denia said, "So I, Francis, takes Denia Walker to be my lovely wedded wife, in sickness and in health, till death do us part." Francis, who was tired and just trying to get rid of the conversation, so he can go in and rest, repeated exactly what Denia said, and added, "Are you happy now? Please baby, you know I love you, just get rid of this one, then we can plan for the next one carefully. Whenever it happens again we will keep it." She agreed, and the next day she removed the baby. This time, she was sick for over 3 weeks due to the pains she went through. After she recovered, Francis' attitude toward her changed. First, he stopped sleeping with her. Whenever he does, he will use protection. Sometimes he will not talk to her for a whole day, and when he does, he will complain about anything she does in the house. Denia never complained. It seems she was expecting it, because all the holes he digs to bring problems that will lead to him saying he is tired of the relationship, she seals it nicely and will never talk back when he is talking. Francis was getting worried his plans are not working out and he didn't know what to do. Even when he keeps her quiet, she will talk the whole day and not mind Francis being moody. One evening, Francis couldn't bear it anymore, so he called Denia and told her he can't continue things with her, that she is not the problem, he is. He is not just feeling the relationship anymore. Denia laughed very loud and said, "Which relationship?" She said, "This marriage is for better for worse and we have been joined together as man and wife." Francis was confused. He asked her, what she was talking about, and she told him. She ran into Samantha another day and learned the truth about him, that she and her mother has prepared everything, and he walked right into it, by reciting the marriage words. As he did, it sealed it all. Francis was confused and told her she should pack all her things and leave his house, that he is done. Denia called her mother and told her, it has happened. The mother said okay and dropped the call. She called Francis and said, I hear you are kicking my daughter out, after 2 abortions. Well, she is your wife. When you get tired, you will come and take her back. All we need from you is the bride price whenever you're ready, and ends the call. Denia packed her things, with a smile on her face, and moved out. That night, as Francis finished working on his computer and laid down to sleep, immediately he slept off. He saw himself running for his life. 2 small boys were chasing him with cutlass on their hands. They wanted to kill him. As he was running, he fell, and as they got close to him, he woke up. It was a nightmare, but it looked so real. He wondered what kind of dream it was, and he got up from the bed and goes to watch television. After a while he dozed off. He saw the 2 boys chasing him again. This time they caught up with him and were about to cut him with their cutlass, and he wakes up in fear. This happened continuously all through the night, so he stayed awake and couldn't sleep till the morning. Francis for the first time watched the night turn into day. He watched the day break completely. Then he went straight to the hospital to see a doctor and explain what happened to him. The doctor said it was just his mind playing tricks on him due to how hard he works. He gave him some sleeping tablets and told him to go home and eat well, then take the medication. When he got home, he did as the doctor said, and he slept like a baby. He slept so much that he couldn't wake up to go for his appointment. He only woke up around 4 p.m. He was shocked. When he checked his phone, he had over 100 missed calls. He called them back to reschedule the appointment. His teammates were disappointed in him. That night, the nightmare came back, and Francis saw the same boys chasing him and was awake the whole night again. 1 week passed and Francis became a mess. Every night was the same, and all day he would sleep and miss his appointments. One day, Francis managed to attend one of their meetings with potential clients and slept off during the presentation. This continued till his friends excluded him from their work and asked him to go fix his life. Eric, who is close to Francis, offered to take him to see a spiritualist named Muda the Great One. Muda is a blind old woman, a spiritualist who lived in the outskirts of the city. They decided to go at night because Francis slept the whole day as usual. When they got there that night, the woman asked him, "Where is your wife?" Francis said he is not married. The woman laughed and said, "You are married to a lady named Denia, and you guys have 2 boys together." Francis was shocked. He said, they aborted 2 pregnancies and he has never proposed to anyone before in his life, and he is not ready and will never be ready to get married. The woman said to him, "Did you ever open your mouth and say any marital vows to Denia?" That was when his mind ran back to that night he came home tired. He said yes, but it was nothing serious. She smiled and said, "Denia's mother is a witch, and after Denia met with your ex, Samantha, she invited her home to meet with her mother, and Samantha told them how you use young girls and dump them. So from that day, Denia came back to your house with something her mother gave her. The first time you made love to her, there was a blood covenant between you and her, and the night you said those words you sealed yourself as her husband. And when you kicked her out, her children, which she aborted, who now lives in the spirit world, are fighting to kill you because of their mother Denia." Francis asked, "So they can actually kill me?" Muda said yes, if they ever catch you in that sleep, you will die and join them that side, to continue to be their father. Francis became scared. He said to himself, "What have I gotten myself into?" He then asked the woman, "Can we break the curse or appease them with money? I have a lot of money, just name the price I will pay." Mother smiled and said, in this case, money has failed, you have to go and get your wife, unless your life on earth is over. Eric asked, so great one, is there no other way? Mother said, no, he is married and he will live with her and she will give him more kids, but there is no way out. It is a blood covenant and sealed with the word of his mouth. Even if he wants to break it, he has gone too deep to return now. Hi guys. At this point, what will you do? Will you get a pastor involved and fight to break the spell? Or will you go ahead and risk dying overnight? Or will you go on and marry Denia? Drop your thought in the comment section. Let's get back to the story. Francis was devastated. Eric told him, I have always warned you about this your lifestyle, so what will you do now? Francis kept quiet for a while and said, if they catch me I am dead, so even this night I will not be able to sleep. I have to go and beg her this night. We are going to their house now. They got into their car and went over to Denia's house. The mother opened the door and called Denia and said, your husband has come to take you home. As Denia came out of the room, Francis started begging them. The mother asked him, is my daughter not beautiful enough? Francis said she is beautiful. The mother asked again, has she ever given you problems since you guys have been dating? Francis said no. The mother asked again, has she not been cooking and cleaning like an African wife would do? Francis said I have a cook and a cleaner, but yes, she has. Then the mother asked, why will you treat her that way? You guys are married and will remain married until she disrespects you, or do not perform her wifely duties, then the spell will break. Until then, Denia, go and get your things, you're going back with your husband. Denia's mother turned to Francis and said, the day you sleep out without your wife's consent, your sons will come for you, and the day you stop playing your husband role, your sons will come for you. Aside that, happy married life. That was how Francis the playboy, the lion, the conqueror, the champion, became Francis, the happily married man. Till this day, Francis' life has gone back to normal. He sleeps well at night and he is back to work and all is going well. But some nights Francis will wake up, look at Denia lying next to him and cry, saying to himself, this was not the plan. Story ends. Moral of the story. Don't play with people's hearts, whether a man or a woman. Every action has a consequence, and one day, your payback will come. I remain Uncle Sam. Stay safe.